Sarah Cameron, welcome to Kickin Gags.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great. And we've got our peppermint tea as well.
We do have a nice peppermint tea.
We're so hardcore.
Yeah, I'll charge you after.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the going rate for a peppermint tea? The same as a ciggy back in the day?
The box is like $3. So you owe me a couple of cents. Welcome to the show. This is Kickin Gags. We're just comedians talking about footy. Mm-hmm. Most people will probably know you from Triple M and working the quarter time and the game day stuff for Richmond.
Yes.
Yeah. How'd you get into that?
All radio is really how that all came about. And I've been doing it for a really long time across multiple codes as well. So I think AFL might have been the second or third code that I was doing.
Right.
And yeah, so I was working in Sydney and I was working with the A-League and hosting the games for Central Coast Mariners.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then when I was there,
big dogs.
Yeah. Hey, they were at the time.
Yeah.
I'll have you know, they were top of the table.
I follow that
Absolutely
league.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm interviewing Rogic on debut and I'm like this.
I still do that. We're at the same height. I had to interview Jamara Ugelhager the other day and I'm like, God. And he's like 10 years younger than me.
I'm still doing this. I need like a little box to stand on sometimes. But a lot of the athletes are very gracious when I'm interviewing them, so they kind of bend down a little bit. But I was working with Central Coast Mariners and there was a lot of whispers going around about who they were going to get for GWS for their inaugural season.
Ah.
And I got the call up, which
was
amazing. So I got to host their home games along with an awesome guy called Stu.
Yeah.
And while I was working with them, then I met some more people from the AFL and I'd said, I want to move back down to Melbourne. Melbourne's where I'm from. And they said, okay, well, when you head back down there, we'll have a meeting. And then I ended up having a meeting with Richmond Football Club. And I didn't want to tell anyone, particularly my family, because I'm a genuine Richmond supporter. And
that was going to be my next question. Yeah.
Grown up, barracking for them. Darren Gaspard, number 2 on my beautiful wool.
Yeah.
Old school, warm.
Oh.
Guernsey, love it, still have it.
When I played juniors, we had the wool Guernseys and they were the worst thing ever.
I know, they're the worst to play in.
Yeah.
But I love it and I've still got the
As
top.
a fan, they're great, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
To go to the footy, they're fine.
Keep you warm in winter.
Yeah. But to sweat in, nah.
So when I had the interview, I wasn't telling Mum, and normally I'd tell my mum everything. My mum and my dad, they've been so supportive of my entire career. And I would tell them, I've got to chat with this person and this person, or I might be going here. I didn't want to tell Mum because she also goes to Richmond. And I thought, if I get this interview and I don't get the gig, Mum's going to be disappointed in me. And I can't tell her. Yeah. And then I ended up getting the gig. I called her. She screamed the house down. She was like, woohoo, free tickets. That's what she thought. Meanwhile, she's had a membership the whole time anyway.
Yeah. Reserve seat, MCC.
She's got it there. And I, for 10 years, I get to go and hang out with Mum and my family. I've got heaps of family members that go for Richmond as well. So, yeah, I've been working with the Richmond Football Club for over a decade, which feels ridiculous.
Yeah, that blew my mind when you told me that. Yeah.
And then in amongst that, tennis, basketball.
Yeah.
I've done NRL, I've done cricket, and I've done soccer, but I can't do it all. There's a lot of overlapping in the fixtures.
You've got a lot going on.
You've got to really pick, and I'm fortunate to be in a position to work for the teams that I genuinely go for.
Yeah.
So I work for Richmond, and in the WNBL, I work for the Melbourne Boomers as well.
Okay, nice. Yeah, you got it all set up. Yeah. But then, how does that work when Richmond aren't going great? Like,
you mean like now?
Yeah.
I think back to the premierships.
Yeah.
Which I'm thankful for because we were nowhere near a premiership when we were starting.
Yeah.
I guess it was sort of the bounce back up kind of when I joined the fold for Richmond. And that was really exciting too to be there and watch so much change that was happening, particularly from 2013, 2014, 2015. Yeah. And you could really see that momentum that was picking up, particularly 2016. So that was really exciting. You always hear that, when you're there in the tough times and then you go up to the good times, someone's going to be able to articulate it better than me. But you know what I mean? Businesses will say it all the time. Bosses will say it all the time.
Yeah, makes it worth it.
It does.
Yeah.
So that was really incredible being there. It was like a Christmas day for me.
Yeah.
And at the time, the first premiership of the lot that we won, I was working at the Fox at the time.
Okay.
And yeah, I've worked at a few radio stations. And I said to them, I'm going to need to take a couple of days off here because I'm hosting the live site for Richmond. I've got a cross that I get to do for the grand final. And then if we win, well, it's going to be a huge celebration.
Yeah. I'm not showing up for work. So were you meant to be working that entire
Sunday.
day?
Well,
Sunday.
I worked the whole Saturday for Richmond.
Yeah.
And then I was meant to be working, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday at the Fox. I said, I think I'm going to need you guys to cover me for at least the Sunday.
Yeah.
And let's see how I go for the Monday. I made it to work on the Monday, but I definitely needed the Sunday, particularly for the cup presentation.
Right, of course.
When
you got to be there, yeah. Where every player is wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, and the staff as well.
Yeah.
It was huge for everybody involved, anybody who had, an invested interest for Richmond. That was absolutely incredible to be there for that.
Well, that was because I'm a D supporter, obviously.
Yeah.
And as amazing as 2021 was, I was on the couch the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like I missed a little bit of it, but still, I'll die happy knowing that I witnessed
You got one.
a premiership. Yeah.
But you didn't get to,
I didn't get
pay
to
$1,000
break
for a
windows
ticket.
on Swan Street or,
I didn't break windows on Swan Street. That was ridiculous. That is one of the craziest things, and it'll never be able to be replicated. And they tried again the second time. It didn't even come close.
I only made it to Swan Street on the 2019 grand final.
Yeah.
And I would have the time of my life.
Yeah.
And I was I'm not a Richmond supporter. And also it was a blowout grand final, and it was the second time he's won in 3 years.
Yes, yeah.
So I had no right to be partying as hard as I did, but it was amazing.
It was such a conflict.
I can't imagine what 2017 was.
Well, 17 was crazy. That was momentous, especially we were able to get my mum a ticket to the grand final, and that was really special. To get mum there makes me emotional thinking about her. My mum loves Richmond so much, and she's yelling, and she's got everything yellow and black. You should see her. She has her makeup yellow and black. She's got her Richmond earring. She's got her clacker there as well.
She's one of those.
She is so loud. My mum is full Richmond nuffy.
Yeah.
That's the household that I grew up in. My dad's Collingwood as well. Very controversial.
Yeah.
So we were able to get mum a ticket, which was super special. She had to sit on her own. We were only able to
so she was by herself.
She was by herself. She did not care.
Yeah.
She was in a row with all these other Richmond supporters, so she was having the time of her life.
Yeah.
And then the rest of my family, a couple of one of my brothers, one of my sisters, some of our cousins and stuff, they went to the Richmond live site. And they weren't even Richmond fans, but they were invested for us. They were invested for mum. My brother, who lives in Canada, he couldn't make it out for that grand final. So he was watching over in Canada, and they just jumped on the bandwagon for us, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then we all met up at Swan Street afterwards, which was crazy.
Oh, see, that's insane.
We couldn't walk down the street. We had to go a street back
Yeah.
and walk parallel to get there.
Yeah.
And then there's this awesome Japanese store. I was like, Mum, I need some sushi. Come meet me here. The place was BYO as well. I was like, we've got it sorted. We've nipped into Coles and Liquorland on the way. We are sweet. And then the whole family got together and we just kept celebrating afterwards.
Yeah.
It was unbelievably special.
Yeah.
And then 2019, my brother actually got to fly out from Canada for that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so he checked his passport this time. That was the only thing that stopped him in 2017. He was about to book flights.
God.
Didn't have a valid passport.
Wow. Wait, so he was living
he's lived in Canada my whole life.
Yeah.
And then when we were looking the goods in 2019, I called him and I said, just get your passport ready.
Book a ticket.
And booked the ticket. Got him a ticket, and then he got to go to the grand final with Mum.
And that couldn't have gone any better for him too. No anxiety the entire day.
I know, it was amazing. Well, yeah, so it's funny because for me, I had a lot of anxiety because my cousin's Jeremy Cameron.
Oh, shit. What?
So a lot of my family are from a small town called Dartmoor. That's where my dad was born. And a lot of my family still live out that way. Dartmoor, Warrnambool, Mount Gambier, and all that family travelled to Melbourne to watch Jeremy in the grand final. I mean, it's GWS, they're in the grand final. So it was huge.
And he got belted.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So how was that aftermath though? Because like that has to be a huge conflict. Because obviously Richmond,
Well,
time of your life, second one in 3 years, but also your cousin's crying in the corner.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard. Whenever he plays against Richmond, I always want him to go well. I always want him to kick a bag.
Yeah.
I want him to win.
Yeah.
But, that's...
It's fine now because he's got one.
Exactly.
But
he
I
got
can't
his
imagine
redemption.
at the time.
And that was incredible. So one of my other brothers and I, we went to the grand final last year.
Yeah.
And then we were able to be in the rooms with his parents afterwards. It was a phenomenal celebration. So I was happy for that.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've lived the best of both worlds. So
You really have.
I've seen Richmond get there, in person to premierships and then be able to see Jez have that sort of success as well and see what that brings to the family.
Yeah.
And also the community.
Yeah.
Like there's a big sign in Dartmoor. That's all for Jez.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause there's a few players that came from Dartmoor, right?
It's a very small town, but out that neck of the woods, there are a couple of players, but Dartmoor is tiny.
Right.
Absolutely. It's such a tiny town.
Yeah.
I haven't even been to Dartmoor. I've driven out that way, but I haven't stopped much
so-
longer than a coffee in Dartmoor. I need to make up for that.
Yeah. Have they got a pub? Surely
Every
got a
town's got
pub.
a pub.
Yeah. That's all you need.
If you got a postcode, you got a pub.
You got a pub and
I think that's
a
the
place to
rule.
get coffee. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sweet.
Sometimes you have to get the coffee at the pub.
Yeah.
That's how those small towns work. I'm sure Dartmoor's got a little bit more
It's
going
also
on.
the post office.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's how my dad got his license in Dartmoor. I think he just had to drive the local police officer from the post office to the pub.
Yeah.
That's how he got it back in the day.
Yeah. Okay. So Jeremy Cameron, how did I not know this? Cameron's obviously.
You don't walk around talking about Ancestry.com too much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, some people do.
Yeah.
If their ancestry is way more exciting.
Yeah.
Like mine's not overly exciting. I'm just a white woman in Australia. There's not that much flavour going on with me, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to harp on. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Trust me, there's plenty of people at my work that know that Jezza is my cousin. He's just such a formidable player and he just gets better and better.
He might win the Brownlow as a forward, which like this year. I'm calling it now. He's going to win it.
He's just so incredible. His whole family they're so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's a different relationship because my section of the family, we grew up here in Melbourne, whereas pretty much the rest of the family, they're all out west.
Right.
So they've all grown up a lot tighter and connected. So ours has been very much later in life through Facebook. That's how we connected, through Facebook, I think. Like
how do you
13 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Right. So you didn't really know them.
No, not at all. Just connected with the family around 2009, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't long been living back in Australia myself because I lived in Canada.
Yes. Okay.
And then I came back and then Facebook was a thing. And then I met up with a couple of my uncles and aunties. And then we all just started editing each other on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do a little Cameron reunion?
Yeah, a little Cameron clan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then...
Did Jez go?
Oh, well, see...
I'm calling him Jez now because we're mates.
You're in the fam.
Yeah.
Well, I've caught up with him a bunch of times, like when GWS came to Albury and they played a game there, just, get some people excited and when they were getting the team ready.
Yeah.
And that's when they had Izzy playing in the team at
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
I was living in Albury actually doing radio then, and so some of the family were there. We were caught up after the game.
What haven't you done radio?
You travel a lot. You travel a lot for this gig. I've done Geelong, Warragul, Melbourne, Albury, Central Coast, Sydney, Gold Coast,
Good Lord.
Darwin, and then I did radio in the Canadian Rockies in a town called Canmore, which is right near Banff.
Okay.
Yeah,
Don't know either of those places, but
it's amazing.
Nice.
Is what it is.
I assume the radio scene is really nice over there.
Yeah, it's lovely, and they were willing to hire someone with an accent.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, but there's heaps of Aussies on the slopes over there.
Right. Yeah.
Heaps. I remember watching the grand final.
Yeah.
In the pub when I was living in Canada with all the Aussies. We packed it out.
Which grand final?
The 2007.
2007. Oh, the Geelong.
Yeah, with the Cats.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with the
Wow.
Cats. I mean, there were some Cat supporters and stuff that were living over there. We absolutely packed out the pub
Yeah.
to watch the grand final there.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely a thing that'll happen.
I assume there was snow. D's fans are there, I suppose.
I think we were just Catters fans in the pub that we were in at the time, but So there's my world is just a constant mix of traveling for work, which is what you also do in comedy.
Yeah.
As well. So
Yeah.
I'm doing that for radio and for comedy, and I've done that for sports hosting.
Yeah.
As well.
So do you go, like, if you're traveling around, do you like try to catch a game? Like, because I've only been, like, I want to go back. I want to go to Optus Stadium.
Yeah.
Obviously, because that's
same.
that's like the
Big time.
We won a premiership there. But like the Western Australian crowds just look amazing. I just want to sit in a crowd where like I'm the only D's fan surrounded by an opposite, because like you don't really get that in Melbourne, and for some reason I just really want to do that, because like I love. The other day I went and saw like this D Sydney game, and I like did one of those like upgrade your ticket things, and I went to like second level, and I was just surrounded by Sydney fans, and I was like the only D's fan, and I had the time of my life, and I was by myself too, because like it was just on a whim, because I live so close to the J. I'm like, I'm just gonna pop down and watch the game, and like obviously we got on top. And I just I'm surprised I made it out of there. Yeah. Because I was just being the biggest dick to everybody. I'm just like.
So who copped it more? Like, were you giving it to them more?
Oh, no. All the Swans fans were really lovely. I was just being loud and belligerent because we were winning. Like, they were yelling at the umpires, obviously, because that's what you do. And then I was just the one guy in that bay of Swans being like, good call, excellent work.
I've been that Richmond fan sitting in a stadium interstate away from your people, from your crowd.
That must be so fun, yeah.
It is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Not when you lose in that position.
Yeah. I would only do it like now. I wouldn't have done it 5 years ago. Yeah.
No, I definitely want to go to Optus Stadium as well. It's such a different atmosphere when you get to go around and watch a game and see the fans there. I reckon one of the best games of footy I've ever watched was actually at Marara Stadium in the Northern Territory, so that's in Darwin.
Okay,
Man, footy up there is life.
I would love to go to one of those.
The best. Yeah. It was the best time living up there and being able to go out and watch just their local league as well, and people packing it out. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hobart as well. Like, that's a really good AFL scene. But whenever I travel also internationally, I'll try and watch as much sport as possible as well. So when I was in America, I was able to go to SoFi Stadium in LA. That was pretty sick. Watch the Rams.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
And my fiancé, so he goes for the Timberwolves, and they had a game with the Lakers.
Yeah.
It was Lakers' home game, but we managed to get seats just 2 rows back from their bench.
And that's the thing about like basketball is like you're insane. Right there.
Yeah. It's insane. It's weird calling it crypto.com arena, but But I definitely try and do that. So if I can marry up my holiday with some sort of a sporting event to go check out another stadium, another arena, the atmosphere is incredible. But every single time though, it genuinely gives me an appreciation for the MCG. Yeah. Because there is nothing like the MCG, that raw, especially when you've got a near packed house. Yeah. You know, I've stood on the G when there's 100,000 people.
Yeah. What's that like?
I have no idea how the players are communicating. I genuinely have no idea, because that sound is so loud and it swirls as well. So you've got the sound travelling around the MCG. Wow. And then coming onto the ground. That raw is crazy. Yeah. And so one thing for me, I guess, that I've been able to hear and then see and witness is that when you've got that big crowd. So when you've got Friday Night Lights and you've got a big crowd, can you imagine somebody who's making their debut? Yeah. God. Look at their face as they run out. Yeah. When the camera is on them, look at their face, because if they've got a crowd over 75, 80,000 for those Friday Night Lights, I cannot imagine the adrenaline that is running through them, because the stadium atmosphere is genuinely electric. Like, it makes the hairs stand up. Yeah. And the bigger that crowd gets, that I don't know how they're focusing, how they're getting it done. Yeah. Because I'm just coming on and doing like a quarter time rap. Yeah. And I'm doing my best. I've just got to block it out. Yeah. I literally just have to block out the crowd and talk. Yeah. And ignore. Like, I guess it's as if I've got this.
Yeah,
That's
because
the only way I can get my job done.
the crowd will act as like a one sort of unit kind of thing. Like you can't hear like individual things, right?
When it's that big, not really.
Yeah.
Unless you've got someone who's super vocal.
Yeah.
And
So
super
if you
loud hanging over.
how do you know if you're bombing in front of a 100K crowd?
It's not quite the same as comedy.
Yeah.
Bombing. Look, nothing is
Can
worse.
you bomb in front of it? Because like
you
if
can. You want to know how you can bomb? Tell the crowd that there's no kick to kick afterwards.
Yeah.
That was the worst. I'll never forget the first time I had to announce that.
Yeah.
That was actually when I was up in Sydney. So that was when I was working with GWS.
Right.
And
Wow. And the GWS crowd turned on you.
Yeah.
Wow.
But like everybody, like not even just the GWS crowd,
Yeah.
because the way that the fixture would roll, you would just safely assume that on a Sunday afternoon, you get to have kick to kick. That's what we grew up with.
Yeah.
You know, last game meant that you could run out on the ground.
Yeah.
I grew up around the corner from Waverley Park Footy Ground.
Yeah.
We all knew. We'd go there, pay $2 entry, and we'd go and have kick to kick. That was babysitting on a Sunday for me growing up.
Yeah.
So then fast forward all these years later, I'm working with GWS and they just said, for whatever reason, they don't want to muck up the grass today. I don't know why. It was some crappy reason. So I had it in my script. I was like, I've got to be the one to tell them after the game.
Yeah.
And, GWS lost as well. So their fans are thinking, at least we can run out, meet the players, because GWS were really great at galvanising their community right at the start. All that groundwork that they did from a grassroots level to try and get people invested, and it worked.
Yeah.
They were very family focused from the get-go. So after each of the games, you could meet the players, you can get them photos with them, signing your tops and it was absolutely incredible. And then we would facilitate a little family function afterwards, and then you could do kick to kick.
Yeah.
So it was something that they came to rely on, those fans, and especially the young kids too.
Yeah.
And then now I've got to tell them that they can't do it.
So how many
how
people
you
is
bomb.
it? How many people? Because that, like back then, so that would have been
tough.
When they started. But it's still like at least 10,000, right?
Sometimes not.
Okay, yeah. But still, like, okay, so
It was
even
low
if it's half
crowd,
that, like 5,000?
7 to 10 to 12,000,
Yeah.
And then the ones that are staying behind
Yeah.
as well, and they'd be very.
So when you make the
very
announcement, do they boo?
Yes.
Oh man, I would love to get booed by 7,000 people for some reason. I don't know. I would just find so much joy in that.
So then comics to me talk about bombing.
Yeah.
I'm like, mate, you've never been booed by 7,000 people.
7,000 people, also family. So you're getting booed by like the entire generation.
Yeah, I know, it's going down, and you've got a 3-year-old looking at you crying.
Yeah.
You're like, I've ruined their day. So I guess that is how you bomb, but there's not too much of it these days now. It's that kick to kick thing. Unfortunately, it's not that big. People are doing it in Yarra Park.
Yeah.
After a game. You can do it at Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been on Marvel. Oh no, I did a captain's thing, but yeah, I haven't seen that.
Oh, I just did a captain's thing.
Yeah, the captain's day.
The captain's day when they get all the photos.
Yeah.
No biggie. Just hanging out with all the captains of the team.
Yeah. All the captains and Liam Duggan for some reason. They just sent Liam Duggan, and he was my favourite person. Because he had no idea why he was there either. He's in the leadership team, but like apparently Shuey was like they didn't want to risk him on the flight and stuff.
Right. Okay.
So they just sent Liam Duggan. He was just like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Morale.
Yeah.
Energy
Good
is
son.
important.
He's a good guy. I like him. Yeah. So doing the game day stuff. Because I mostly go to D's games,
yes.
right? What's your favorite thing that you? Because do you guys do the entertainment thing? Do you guys do like a kick it into the bin challenge thing, or because the D's do like a race, like
everyone does a race. Now.
Everyone does a race.
Us.
Oh, did you guys start that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like. Do you have to sign a waiver before you do that? Because
yes, you do.
They do not pick the most fit people to do that.
But why would you? It should be an equal opportunity. I don't want someone who runs the VIS.
Yeah, but I don't want to see someone do a hammy trying to race Max
I've
Gorn.
seen people do their hammies. I've absolutely seen that. They've had a couple of blowouts on the MCG in the years gone by, and now
I've never seen it.
If there's been too much rain, there's absolutely no running on the MCG now because it's just too slippery.
Yeah, right.
For them, and there's been a couple of people to stack it.
Yeah.
Richmond are a team that are incredibly active with their game day activations, and they have been from the get-go. Was part of the reason why they hired me.
Yeah.
They already had a game day host at the time. They were incredible. James Sherry, who some people know from Amazing, the TV show. You are too young.
I am too young.
It was a TV show that we all grew up with, and we so desperately wanted our school to be picked so that we could go on to Amazing. So it was incredible for me to be able to work with James in that space, but the activations were so heavy that he couldn't be everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
On the concourse doing the activations for the pre-records, and then because there's a lot of stuff that happens pre-game. And they would have their family set up. There was an AFL playground that would be set up as well. There were more activations around the concourse back in the day. Not so much now. A lot of them happen in-game or within the stadium, but they would be set up outside the gates.
Yeah.
And Richmond would have activations for their family days at Punt Road as well. So I would be down there filming, trying to encourage fans to get there early so that they could go participate in that and then walk up to the G, watch the game. So that was one of the reasons why I was hired, was because they were activating so hard and engaging the AFL and the Richmond community that much. So it's changed a little bit, and we've had different incarnations of races. The biggest one, the most famous one, is Beat the Jeep, which is no longer. So there was a Jeep LED that would run along the side of the MCG for 100 metres. They would pick their speed, and if they were able to outrun the Jeep, then they would get a voucher for the Raw store to go and get merch.
Oh, okay, so you don't win the car.
No, you're not winning it. We did give away a Jeep once. That was pretty fun.
You gave away a Jeep?
We literally gave away a Jeep. I'd probably been
What'd you
have to do? The fans had to sign up for something. They had to register, and I can't remember if they had to be at the game or not. They probably had to go to X amount of games, and then they had to meet at Punt Road, and they got paired up with a Richmond player, and then they were doing competitions like handball competitions with like revolt and stuff. It was
that'd be great.
So much fun.
Yeah. And
then right to the very end, and then someone won a Jeep. One of the coolest things that I've gotten to give away. And that includes radio. Like, I've given away $100,000 on radio before, but that was really fun. So
I would love to like partner up with I feel like if I partnered up with a AFL player, they would have to adopt me as their
like a sponsor
as their dad. Yeah.
I'm going to need you to check.
If I was just put in that position, I'd be like, you are my dad now.
Who do you want to be your dad?
Max Gorn. I just feel like he's, he's everyone's dad.
Max is everyone's dad. I think he'd appreciate that.
We should probably wrap up soon, but a couple of standard questions. So best game you've been to? The 2017 grand final?
Easily.
Yeah.
The 2017 grand final, for sure.
Yeah.
That nothing matches that. It was.
Were you actually? Because you were working.
I was here, there, and everywhere. I was like in the stadium for some parts. I was down at Punt Road, but when the siren sound, I was with the Tiger Army faithful at Punt Road.
Right.
And that roar. Oh,
so you went on in the G?
No, I wasn't. For when the siren sound, I went back to Punt Road.
Wow.
And it was absolutely chockers there.
Yeah.
And that was really, really special.
I feel like that was a game that Richmond winning that premiership, I feel like everybody got on board with that.
Yeah.
Really quick. Because when I watched that, I didn't even watch it.
Yeah.
But I was actually at Oktoberfest in Munich when that happened. And I had my best mate who's a Richmond supporter.
Yeah.
And he didn't get to watch it at all. So we were literally sitting at the bench thing, in a tent in Munich.
Just watching KO on your phone?
No, just watching the AFL app, just the scores. And because I was with a bunch of, so we had 4 boys, and then we met up with a bunch of girls from high school, our friends. We're all high school friends.
Yeah.
And we were just going off, singing the Richmond theme song nonstop. and it was like just a table of Australians and like all these Germans and other tourists around us are like, that's not an Oktoberfest song. Like, what are they singing? Like, and we were just like, we had the Steins just smashing them on the table.
I love that a D supporter can even get on board with the Richmond theme song.
Well, it's a great song.
Best.
Yeah, it is
the
a great
best theme song.
It goes
I'm
Richmond.
not even saying that because I'm biased. You do a survey.
It is, yeah. And no, it is. I think everyone agrees that. Richmond, I think maybe GWS after that. I just love
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah.
And then like maybe D's, down the bottom somewhere Freo. Yeah, anyway. But yeah, like everybody got on board with the 2017 Grand Final. And like, yeah, that was a great day for me. Yeah.
I think it's, for a footy fan, it is one of those days that a lot of fans remember. Like I remember when the Doggies got their premiership as well.
Yeah.
And and same for the Ds. And I feel like you as a fan, you got robbed of that, which sucks.
Yes.
And the next one has to be St Kilda. That's going to be another one of those iconic days in history.
Yeah.
And provided that you're not a supporter of the team that they're up against in the grand final, I feel like everybody would be on the Saints bandwagon. Like if you're a lover of footy, if you're a lover of sport, I think that's the way that you tend to go.
Yeah, I genuinely would love to see the Saints win one. I want to see Melbourne win one in Melbourne first.
Absolutely.
Because I live like near Swan Street, so I just want to like smash some windows on Swan Street in celebration first, and then the Saints can win.
Your face is so like friendly, but the words are so violent. Do not condone smashing windows, okay?
Yeah, I'm going to therapy. It's fine.
Yeah. Go run it out. Do you have ADHD? Do you need to go do a lap?
I don't think so. Maybe. Anyway, comedy festival show. You are doing a comedy festival show.
I am. It's called One Womb, Please. It is my debut solo show, and it is all about my partner and I on the journey to have a baby.
Woo!
And this show is genuinely written for men.
Yes.
Because I thought, I work on Triple M. How can I get these people to understand what I'm going through? And obviously anybody who's been through IVF or they've had fertility issues, they're going to get it. They're going to understand it. And it's great. And like I had a couple in the crowd last night, Triple M listener, so he got the tickets. Mm-hmm. And his wife came up to me afterwards. She was like, I literally know more than half of that journey that you've been on. This is what I went through. She's like, that was incredible. So he got the tickets, but the partner appreciated it even more. And that's what I love. I just want to provide a really comfortable space. Yeah. Make you feel like you're in a room with your mate and we're just having a laugh about some of the cards that we've been dealt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I like about your comedy. Yeah, because you do a lot of like crowd riffing and it does feel like you're just sort of hanging out.
Yeah. I love chatting to the crowd.
Yeah.
People always like, what do you reckon about hecklers? I'm like, it's cool. Let's have a chat.
Yeah.
I'm down for it. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the opposite. Yeah. So I'm on stage, do not talk to me. Yeah. This is all about me. Just let me get this out.
You can't make too much eye contact with people in the crowd. Whereas I'm like, I get down, I'm like, yeah, okay, what's your name? And like, we're going to know each other's cycle by the end of this. Yeah. We are going to be linked.
We're going to sync up. Sarah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so
Gags.
much.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. I'm glad that I could bring a syncing up joke to this. That's what I bring. Thank you.
Thank you. What an amazing, incredible, inspiring episode of Kickin Gags. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the YouTube channel or, follow us on all the socials and all that sweet stuff that really helps with everything that we do. And you can always catch the latest AFL news at zerohanger.com.au. I've been Phoenix Trinidad. Good night. Goodbye. See you later.